Asus has always been a brand that champions hardware. Their Zenfone Zoom lineup of smartphones is currently in its third generation, and it's being about a different and perhaps more hardcore camera setup compared to most of its competitors. The Zenfone Zoom S is definitely a device aimed at shutterbugs. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas, and let's take a look at what the device has to offer. The Zenfone Zoom S has stellar build quality. It feels great to hold and use and has a certain weight to it. It's a bit chunkier than most other smartphones in the market, but not by much, since it still manages to pack in a massive 5000 mAh battery in an 8mm body. The metal unibody design isn't going to win any awards for its looks, but it definitely can withstand some shocks and drops judging by the solid feel. The 5.5-inch AMOLED 1080p display gives great contrast ratio, good sunlight legibility and colors that seem pretty natural. We have normally seen AMOLED displays tuned to being more saturated, but I guess Asus went for this due to the photographic-centric nature of the device. However, if you do want to increase the saturation, there's a super color mode that bumps it up, or you can even set your own color mode and temperature from the settings. The bezels are fairly large at the top and bottom. However, considering that this device was launched before the whole 18:9 aspect ratio craze set in for 2017, perhaps Asus could be forgiven for not bundling that in. The main issue I had with the Zenfone Zoom S is in terms of software, where it did seem to feel a bit bloated. Not that it was sluggish, but some of the apps that came preloaded on the device weren't really useful, and some of them can't be uninstalled but only disabled. At the time of testing, the device was running on Android Nougat 7.1.1 and the Snapdragon 625 chipset with 4GB of RAM and 64GB of expandable storage helped ensure smooth performance. The main highlight of this device is certainly the camera, and it packs in some impressive specifications, especially for the price. The phone makes use of a wide plus telephoto combination. The primary camera is a 12MP Sony IMX362 sensor with f1.7 aperture, 1x2.55-inch sensor size and 1.4 micron pixel size with optical image stabilization. The secondary telephoto camera also has 12MP of resolution but a smaller f2.6 aperture, 1x3.42-inch sensor size, 1 micron pixel size and has a focal length of 59mm. The primary camera has a focal length of 25mm, so if you do the math, you'll see that the optical zoom on this thing is a little bit over 2.3x, and that's pretty impressive considering that there's barely any camera hump on this thing. The extra zoom range also means that you get a reach and perspective that's different from almost any other smartphone on the market that uses a wide and telephoto combination. The dual camera iPhones and Note 8 offer 2x optical zoom, while the OnePlus 5 gives you only 1.6x optical zoom and does the rest digitally. Of course, the zoom factor is relative to the focal length between the wide and telephoto lenses, but the Note 8 and iPhones have a telephoto camera focal length of 52 and 56mm respectively. The Zenfone Zoom S takes good quality images with the primary camera in almost every lighting condition. The large sensor coupled with OIS and aperture makes sure that it gets in as much as light as possible. Images are great in well-lit situations and it has good dynamic range as well as good detailing. The HDR mode helps takes things a bit further and gives a more balanced image. However, don't expect any pixel-like magic here. It gets the job done and that's about it. Low-light images don't seem to have much noise, but they do seem to be a bit mushy due to the aggressive noise reduction applied. Focusing takes a bit long and sometimes is a bit of a hit or miss. Could be due to the laser autofocus, as we have seen some of those fail to perform well in the past. The telephoto lens gives pretty great reach, as you can see between these two photos. It too supports HDR mode and can be great when you can't get closer to the object or subject, and also for forced perspectives. Portrait mode too is pretty great and also allows the user to manually select the blur to be applied. Anywhere from f22 all the way to f.95 can be simulated. The blurring algorithm also seems better than even the iPhone X in some cases, as these photos demonstrate. iPhones have always been one of the best in terms of algorithm, but in some photos it says otherwise. In this particular photo, the iPhone X doesn't even get the focus right, and in this photo the iPhone seems washed out and seems to lack sharpness. However, portrait mode won't work well in low lighting conditions and the phone will use its primary camera when the light drops quite a lot. The videos with the rear camera max out at 4K resolution 30fps but do have stabilization. The stabilization isn't as good or aggressive as say the OnePlus 5 or 5T, but is good nonetheless. Videos seem to have higher contrast than usual, but it looks good. You can record videos with the telephoto camera as well, but you need to make sure that you're already using the telephoto lens before hitting record, as there's no option to zoom in or out between recording video. The front-facing camera too records stabilized videos with EIS but at 1080p resolution. The front-facing camera left us thoroughly impressed considering the kind of detail that it provided, along with the stabilization and dynamic range that felt better than the rear camera. The front-facing 13 megapixel camera with f2 aperture, 1.12 micron pixel size and 1 by 3.04 inch sensor size also takes pretty decent photos, and ones that even have good dynamic range, and you even get beautify options as well. However, note that sometimes when you use HDR mode, the white balance does tend to go a bit off, or sometimes the shadows end up being darker than they should. However, this can easily be rectified using post-processing. The battery life is pretty impressive on this device, and I got easily over 8 hours of screen on time on a single charge. The extremely efficient standby battery drain also helps make the phone last longer, and you can top off the battery using the Type-C port. It comes with a 10-watt power adapter that charges the device fully in around 2.5 hours, which isn't the fastest, but I would still choose to go for a long-lasting battery on this phone instead of a quick charging phone. However, it would be great if we could get both. The Zenfone Zoom S is not without flaws, but its flaws are few in number and is mainly focused on the software side of things. It actually delivers quite a unique experience and a camera setup that's much better than most of the other devices in this price range. If camera is a priority to you, then you would be delighted with this smartphone, as it definitely punches above its weight. Priced at Rs 26,000, the Zenfone Zoom S packs in great value for money, especially due to the camera setup, amazing battery life and great screen. If you want a device for multimedia consumption and creation, this is one that won't disappoint you. That's it for the video guys, thanks for watching, see you again in the next one. You can click the link in the description below if you want to head over and buy one of these for yourself.